watching.
Of the Compliance Committee.
Yep.
And I'll ask for approval of the minutes. I believe you all received copies from our meeting of December 18th. Is there a motion? Thank you, Rhett. Seconded by Joe. Any corrections, additions? All those in favor say aye.
Did you make the motion?
Rhett, Joe.
Yeah.
That's not on the committee, okay?
Oh, that's not on the committee. Good catch.
Oh,
So the committee members are Ann, Lisa, Troy, and Joe.
So I'll motion it.
Okay.
Second.
thank you.
Oh.
And that's
Sorry,
second.
Rhett.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Good catch.
Motion carries. All right. First item on the agenda. Thanks, Greg. Is a local labor violation, and I'll let Robin talk to us about it. It's
Yeah,
pretty
so-
significant.
Yes. Apologies for the significant paperwork, but we wanted to just have this all documented. And then we were going through it, we were reviewing everything this morning. I know it's kind of confusing with the email trails and stuff that I printed, but in a nutshell, this project has had multiple local labor violations, and we have reached out and had conversations with him. What did I counted this morning? 5 times, reminding him of our local labor policy. And then it's 100% local labor policy, and you need to apply for waivers if you're gonna. And then what the icing on the cake was, we had a visitor come to our office 2 weeks ago, showed up, knocked on the door, guards came and got someone from COMIDA, and he is from Brooklyn, took the bus up here,
That's an amazing story.
worked on the project, and has not been paid.
Oh,
And he called me on, he at first wanted, then he was walking over there, 'cause he walks everywhere when he's here, to confront again, and then he came back to tell me that he was told he would get paid to give him a week. He said, so don't do anything. I said, well, don't worry, I have other stuff to go. I don't even need yours. We have other things against him. And then he keeps calling me to tell me that he's still not been paid.
Is this an individual or a contractor?
It's an individual. In addition to that, because he's so upset that he told me that he was told to lie on his residence. He is from Brooklyn.
so is this all about Neville and not Bruton Consulting?
Correct.
Correct.
Because I was wondering if they were just trying, so they're trying really hard, aren't they? Bruton
They're
Consulting.
the consulting company.
Bruton did the roof, I believe, and
Yeah. That they said
Kevin
had
went
a-
on the site and
that
was
Neville's-
like, what do you mean, you're not local?
Yeah.
And the guy knew nothing about it, had no idea it was supposed to be local. Just bid this job, and then he detailed all his issues that he had with the guy.
And with the developer's name?
He's out of Brooklyn,
Neville,
NKG Group.
Neville Graves. It was a father-son
Yeah.
business. And unfortunately, it's been problematic. And it's not just local labor violations, it's intentional local labor violations. It's people leaving the site during Kevin's
You're not
inspection,
getting documents on time that you
lying,
need.
Yep.
falsifying documents.
To the point where Kevin visited yesterday and sent me a text, and they were 5 out of area drywallers.
So you just,
Yesterday.
It's just
so
nonstop.
can we just pull the benefits?
Yeah, that's
4 out of
what
area.
we're planning to do. I think we need board action or
So we
committee,
wanted
then board action.
to bring this to the board's attention. Violations of the local labor policy can result in suspension, revocation, termination, recapture of benefits. So it's at the board's discretion. I think staff is very comfortable recommending termination and recapture. Of course, the caveat being, I doubt we'll see anything on recapture, but it's worth pursuing.
Yeah, so I would be totally in favor of that,
What happens
and
if,
nothing less.
but
Me
what,
too, even though I don't count.
does that not help this individual get paid? Could we help to get this individual
So-
paid before we term this?
Robin and I talked about it. He can file a mechanics lien,
Right,
but
that's what I was gonna
resources
say.
to do that. So I think what we can do is find some volunteer resources to get him a mechanics
File a
lien
lien.
filed against the property. Unfortunately, that's his best recourse to get him paid.
You might see it in 3 years.
How much
Right.
how much is he owed?
Yeah, so we're not-
$1,700.
Only 1,700.
And this poor guy's taking a bus up and.
Right, well,
I
obviously.
asked a
Just
lot.
terrible, just terrible.
Terrible.
And he's like 72 years old, the guy.
The guy that's not being paid?
Correct.
Yeah, these
Oh,
guys
wow.
are,
Your age.
Your age.
these guys are just, they're just,
Yeah.
Brett, I highly advise you take the New York State sexual harassment bullying class. You can't say that.
True.
It was,
You've said
that's
stuff about me,
disappointing, because I remember when they came to present, it was such a heartwarming story.
Yeah, taking a vacant building,
Yeah.
turning into housing,
Yep,
And,
affordable set aside.
yep,
and reasonable rent, so
Yeah.
it has the potential to be a great project.
yeah.
But it's just been really a nightmare for staff and for Kevin Loki and it's, yeah,
yeah, that's
we're
just
well beyond the point where we need to take action.
terrible.
I'm not on the committee, but can I ask a question?
Of course.
How much time has staff allotted to this?
A lot. Robin, you wanna take a stab at estimating how many
Just-
hours you
just-
spent?
Look at all of Robin's letters.
I know, look at all my emails alone.
So, what is this taking away from?
I feel like since the project initiated, at least once a week, there's been some kind of kerfuffle via email.
Well, Kevin goes every
call.
other week and he
Yeah.
has usually something to report every other week of.
Well,
This is terrible.
so I want to share. This is an MWBE certified contractor,
Which is,
NKG.
they are.
It is.
That's what I'm reading right here
Yeah.
on Friday, March 29th. So I have a bigger problem.
okay.
I have a
New York
bigger,
City.
still,
Yeah, they've got a
they
certification.
got a status. A letter should probably be written. Here in Rochester, we have multiple MWBEs, MBEs that have lost their status with no explanation. Now, here you have a contractor that is not a good faith contractor. I would suggest that the Comittee board write a letter to the New York City certified MBE. If we're gonna do this, we should do it so it stinks.
Yeah, I agree.
We'll report them.
I totally agree. So do you need a motion to,
It's a motion to recommend
That
to
the full board authorize termination.
okay, so I'll make a motion to
Second.
recommend
Is there a
that,
second?
Second,
that we terminate and
Recapture.
recapture.
Okay.
Any other questions on that? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you very much. Okay, next item.
Thank you, everyone.
Hi,
Thank
Jay.
you.
Jay.
Good touch.
Absolutely, will. Thank you. Take care.
see you next month.
To change your mind,
Hey,
you gotta
don't
find
leave.
us.
Don't leave this graffiti to me.
What's that?
We can dispose of
We'll
it,
recycle.
unless you want it as a party gift.
Okay, the next item is the sales tax recapture report, which is on page
29.
29 of your packets.
So this is where we just report to the board the projects that have exceeded their sales tax exemption or used it past their expiration date. So we had one project use their sales tax exemption past their expiration date, and they repaid New York State the dollar amount. And then the other is the USRE Rochester project that we are still, they are still looking into the whole process of what happened there.
354,000?
Yes.
This is Amazon.
So we are,
So
Robin,
does the state go after them?
This,
we do.
We do
The responsibility is
for the
on the IDA to go after it on the state's behalf. And we ask for the check to be remitted to us, and then we remit to the state.
So are we doing that with them?
Yes, we will. They are fully aware of it, they being the owner of the building, which is USRE. the tenant to the building, which is Amazon, and
And the
Who
general
owns the
contractor.
building?
USRE.
Who is
Real-
USRE?
It's a subsidiary of USAA Insurance.
Okay, all right, so we're gonna go after them.
We are going after.
Yes, I have multiple conversations over the past year. So we're not asking for any action on this.
So
we're
there's no
just
action
reporting to the
required.
board, yes, correct.
Just an update. Okay. And then we have the unpaid pilot payments report. Robin?
Correct, this is actually a lot lower this year than we've seen in the past years. One project, you'll see it's on the city and the county of owing, and they owe several years of pilot payments, and they just make random payments every once in a while. I will state that 2023, the pilot ended in 2023, and so it will go back on the tax rolls.
Which one is that?
The first one, 08090. Oh, I have the wrong code down below, look at that.
I don't see it. Do you know where?
Why did I do that?
QPLLC.
Why did I do that?
Oh, are we still on that?
Unpaid pilot payments.
It is 08090.
Working on the couch.
I know,
19
right?
Windsor Street.
Oh, yeah. That's it. Okay.
Yes.
That's harsh.
Page
19
30.
Windsor Street?
Just kidding. Rob.
That's on
Yeah,
page.
yes.
Oh my god, look at, I messed this all up.
I think that
It's East Avenue,
I'm gonna blame Excel.
That's all right.
because I don't do well with Excel.
We get the gist of it.
It is East Avenue. It was a choice program, housing. And then we have the one below from the city, 14004, that we've talked about in the past, that there's a lawsuit that is still not settled.
So it is at the settlement point, the Franklin, the VA lawsuit. The issue there was, it is a complicated formula for calculating the pilot payment, and there is a dispute between the city and the owner of whether it's being calculated correctly. It went into a lawsuit. It is at the settlement point. As soon as everyone signs the settlement agreement, they'll generate bills, and that amount will be paid. So the settlement is on paper, it's just waiting for signatures.
And then that'll get paid.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. We're ready to go on to,
This is the,
2023 waiver request summary. So these are people who have all asked for a waiver.
correct. And there's one additional one that's not on here that we'll have to come back to the committee another time because we're still gathering the information on it. Oh, Amy, is there another packet?
Oh, yeah, this, I wrote on the first page.
Oh, that's okay.
And just as a reminder, because I made this mistake and I should know better, we're looking at the job creation requirement for 23. We look at everything, does that make sense?
Yes.
They report to us for
These are-
year end.
this is for
I still
everybody.
made the mistake when talking to Robin to review the packet, so. All
Okay,
right, start off the top.
So we're gonna,
Yeah, I don't know how you want to do this,
Go one
and
by
just,
one.
well, I guess you probably wanna highlight those that are, really egregious and that, you know, they're not, I think you're almost gonna say you're gonna approve all these waiver requests, right? So there aren't any
The
that you
comments,
think that.
the comments are very telling about, since the pandemic, what's happened. I mean, it's on the whole page.
And that's what we heard last time too.
Yeah.
And I mean, I talk to people out there that say the same thing. You can't hire somebody, you think you've got them hired, they don't show up. They come one day, they don't come back.
I just heard that yesterday.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. I just don't understand, but.
So last year, we talked about all of the requests, and then Robin and I were tasked with having follow-up conversations with a few of the project owners where the committee had specific questions about the requests before a request was granted. So we don't necessarily need to approve everything.
talk about
You know,
it,
let's
right?
consider each on its merits, and then if there is a directive to staff to collect more information, we'll go ahead and do that.
Unfortunately, guys, I have to go.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you,
Thank
Joe.
you. I apologize
That's
that I was
all right.
late today and I have to leave, but nothing I can do. I'm sorry.
No problem.
Thanks, Joe.
Here, Joe.
We will carry on. Let us know if you have any thoughts you want to share in the aftermath.
I will, for sure, for sure. I would suggest that if, some of the things make sense to me and some don't. So
Yep.
I would make sure you take a hard look at,
Which ones?
well, like, for example, the first one's a hotel, okay?
No, it's a restaurant.
Restaurant.
Oh, that's the restaurant in the corner?
The hotel is.
Yeah.
Oh, the hotel's in the back,
What
okay.
used to,
But
what
he-
used to be
but he
Silver
died.
Hill, yeah.
But he died. So, I mean, how's that impact things?
Who died?
Malone. The first 384 East Avenue?
I think the father might have.
I didn't know the father died.
I didn't know he died.
Yeah, the son and his wife, I believe, are
John?
It was his mother we talked to.
the mother,
Yeah,
the
I don't
son
think- I
and
don't think he
the-
died.
and the widow,
I don't
yeah.
think
I've
so.
talked to the
Someone
father.
died. He was in a ditch. He was plumbing. He was-
No. You're thinking
I'm
of,
thinking of the inn. I
You're-
got the wrong one.
you're thinking of Tornadoes.
Yeah, this is the wrong one?
That's a different one. This is different.
This
sorry.
is, it was the city.
That's the inn on
It's
Broadway
the
you're
corner
thinking
of East and Alexander.
Yeah, you're thinking of the inn on Broadway.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Never mind.
And that was Dr. Falone.
Falone,
That died.
Falone.
That's very
okay.
close.
Yeah.
I can see them.
And this is, so this is the restaurant on the corner.
Yeah.
So,
So the only thing I'll point out is that as of 12/31/23, they were not in compliance, but as of July of 24, they are in compliance. As they just got a liquor license and the restaurant is now open.
and
If that factors in at
and
all.
I was just gonna mention, because I heard it's closing already.
Oh, stop. Oh my God.
That's what I heard.
Well, what's the
I guess
restaurant
the
now?
good news is the benefits are done. They've received
Right.
their last year of benefit. So when the bill came out in January from the county, that was the last benefit.
Yeah.
So we can, the pilot's done. Is the moral of the story on this one.
But for future, Malone hasn't been a good player on this project, and there was out of town,
People
out
working
of
it?
country people working on another Malone site that
So,
was an issue.
so I went through these. I would just suggest you look at, here's what bothers me. COVID was bad, right? It affected a lot of businesses. It affected a lot of people. You can't keep using it as an excuse for bad behavior,
Yeah.
right? So we just need to be cognizant of that, right? You know, I just had a guy tell me, we had problems hiring people up until last year. And I would say that probably February, March of this year, things loosened up. I have no problem hiring people. I just talked to somebody else in a similar business, says, I can't hire anybody. What are you offering? He's offering them peanuts. Like, of course you're not gonna hire anybody. So, right, you have to look at the situation. You know, we can't blame COVID for everything, and we've had substantial inflation. So if you don't, if you offer people the same money you were offering them in 2020, no one's gonna work for you. Right? Inflation substantial. So that's what we need to look at.
Well, and I noticed that some of the people said something like, well, we hired them and gave them their pay scale, but then they took it back to their old employee
Yep.
to use it for a raise. And I know there's people out there doing that
There's a lot
as
of
well.
people doing that
Who
for
would do
sure.
Well,
People do that?
yeah, why would you not do
Yeah.
it? If you liked the other company better and you were gonna make more money and you wanted to stay and they would
Yeah,
keep
people
you.
do that.
Yeah,
You're getting
I
paid
know.
today?
Huh?
You're getting
Yeah,
paid right
people
now?
do that.
Yeah.
Me?
Yeah.
I'm not getting paid.
Huh?
Have a great week, everybody.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Joe.
Joe.
We'll talk to you
Thank
soon.
you.
Hey, Joe.
Thank you, Rhett.
Okay, but the recommendation, do we want to talk about each one of these?
I think it makes sense to.
Okay,
We can probably move through some more quickly than others.
all right, why don't you guys kick it off then?
Okay, so the first one, like we mentioned, it is last year it was not in compliant and has not been over the past few years due to restaurants coming in and out and closing. One of them didn't last a year. As of July, they are compliant. We'll find out December when we survey them next year. Actually, we won't survey them next year.
Yeah, so we're done.
What is the restaurant that's in here now?
Hold on. She put it on her. She said they got their liquor license.
And Troy, I think this is the only project we have with this individual, so fortunately we don't hopefully have to deal with these problems anymore.
It just says the bistro and bar has now opened.
I think.
We now have 25 to 30 people on staff.
Headache gone.
Hopefully. So that's that one.
So there's a shortfall of 6.
Mm-hmm. So that it would be approving a waiver for 2023.
Okay. We're not gonna do these individually, are we?
We'll go through the facts and then we'll keep track, like a yes or no now of whether you want to grant a waiver, so that when we do the motion at the end, we'll just do one motion at the end.
And it could be yes, grant waiver, no grant waiver, or get more information for us.
Okay.
So for the first one, where are we leaning?
He has 25 to 30 people on staff now.
That's
The
what they
tenant-
wrote.
The tenant, pardon?
The tenant, that's what they wrote.
Yeah. So they've been adding then jobs over the period of the project?
Since the beginning of the year.
Oh, beginning of
This year, of 2024.
24, I see.
I think it's probably also and I think we talked about this last year, when this project was originally approved, it was a hotel restaurant
I remember.
combo.
And Bologna, I remember.
And the bulk of the jobs were with the hotel, which
Yeah.
then, as you know, is demolished. That parcel was sold, different ownership on the hotel, and rebuilt as a Marriott. So now we're looking just at the hotel, which
At the restaurant.
The restaurant.
with the restaurant, I'm sorry, just a restaurant, not that many jobs to begin with associated with the restaurant, and then they've had tenants in and out every year.
Yeah, it's strange how it just keeps circulating through something different.
Right. It's such a prime location too.
What was the name of the restaurant?
Currently,
What was it before?
it was City Grill.
Yeah, I did my son's
Very
rehearsal
popular.
It's
dinner there.
gorgeous.
It was amazing. We were in the
Yeah.
ballroom. It was beautiful. The food was fabulous. It couldn't have been better, but
Parking's an issue
surprised.
there.
So is he ever gonna catch up with the requirement? I mean, that's,
Well, the pilot's over with.
okay.
So they received their last benefit in '24. We won't survey them again. This is the last time we're gonna talk about this one.
Okay. All right.
So 4 years, they didn't make their number.
Correct.
it's so hard because they started in 2020.
Well,
It's
no,
really-
no, they've been around.
But that's when we've
The
had
job
the
issues.
Yeah.
the bad, yeah.
Correct.
It's just really hard when you have to, you want to be conducive to it, but it's like Joe said, you can't keep
Yeah.
using the same excuse.
Okay, let's keep going.
The next one is, I don't know how,
Monroe Muffler.
figure out how to do this though, like in my head.
Just do a little.
These mine are all in order. Yours should
Yeah, no, they're in order, but I'm just trying to think about what
is important.
what to say about it.
I think sometimes in the past, we've had a spreadsheet that said, here are the ones that have the largest shortfall, had those all together, and then we could just approve, make one motion.
Yeah, they look like they.
Not a grant.
So this pilot is currently terminated
Waiver.
at their request as
Okay.
of July. They did sell the building and relocate within Monroe County,
Okay.
but it's got a new tenant. Surprising, did not reach out to us to talk about benefits, but I can't remember the name of the tenant who bought it.
So basically,
Monroe
this one
building.
we don't do anything with either.
It was the first time they missed their job mark.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
Yep.
Monroe Muffler is obviously a very strong
Very
business
well
within the
known.
county.
Yeah.
Right.
The reason for the shortfall was that they closed a distribution line. They got out of distribution. And so the associated jobs with that. But, like Robin said, they did terminate at their option, so we won't have Monroe Muffler in our active projects anymore. They sold to a business that had a higher job and potential
It came from
for
out
job
of county, out of
creation.
state.
And that business has not requested benefits.
Moving on, the next one is a daycare center that has sought waivers in the past due to the inability to find staff.
And that's Pierpont Prep.
Yes,
But that
correct.
one also is in the final year?
Yes.
Yep,
Mhm.
Actually, they received their
Actually,
last benefit
in
in
23.
23.
And the same with the next one?
The same with the next one. Connorelli Associates is a type of machine shop. Having a very hard time finding people not showing up for interviews. Again, 2023 was the last year of benefits on this project. Moving on, Shortino Properties, 2025 will be the last year of benefits. Again, having a hard time getting people to show up.
What is that?
Pretty big barn.
It's sublet to Superior Technology, which is a precision machined parts and assembly manufacturer.
Seems like machine shops are having problems.
Yeah.
There are several in this
Yeah.
list.
Yeah,
The advanced type manufacturing.
so we would just grant the waiver and move on, or?
If that's what we're assuming, if the committee takes issue with one, let us know and we'll know not to grant the waiver on this one. Otherwise, we're assuming,
Just keep going.
Yeah.
All right.
yeah.
Okay.
But if you take issue, please don't hesitate.
And we can follow up, we can schedule follow-up conversations with respective project owners and collect additional information.
Okay.
Marketplace Mall, kind of self-explanatory.
So Marketplace Mall, yes, as a mall, a little bit self-explanatory. Also, as you're well aware, U of R has taken over most of it as an orthopedic surgery center. And
Is that open? Do you know?
Oh,
Yes,
it is opened.
Is that right?
It's
Mhm.
amazing.
It's amazing. They have an option on the rest of it to purchase the rest of
Was
the
that
mall.
right on
The whole mall?
Macy's site, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
where the Macy's was.
So
So
Macy's is now a tile and flooring company.
That
Correct.
floor and
It was
decor.
Sears.
Right.
They rebuilt Sears.
I see.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
there's been
Sears site.
successful out parcel development there, but within the mall is still
It's a dead zone.
suffering, as all malls are. This isn't news. Additionally, to further complicate it, there are restrictions on what the tenants can be given the presence of U of R. So that makes it even more difficult. U of R negotiated restrictions on what can be sold and marketed, of course, so.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, Dick's used to sell firearms because of,
There's,
Yeah, I get that. Well, Dick's is now moving out too.
yeah, that's why, because they lost.
Yeah,
U of
that's
R.
right, Dick's is moving to
I
where,
think the Christmas tree
the
shop?
Christmas tree shop,
oh, okay.
Yeah, so Dick's
which
is
will be a
moving
big
out.
list,
But I don't
lots
think
of.
people go to malls anymore. I can't
No,
remember the
this is
last
the
time I
next
went to a
one.
mall.
Right. I
You
mean,
go
I
to
know
the
people
out
like to
parcels.
take walks there and get their steps in.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right. But even that, they shut down. They don't open up as early as they used to and
Yeah,
stuff.
it's too bad.
This is the next one.
There are 10 years left on the marketplace pilot. You may recall that we amend the payment amount each year. It's a fixed pilot payment. We haven't gotten that request yet. I don't expect this pilot to go out for another 10 years. I think at some point it'll just return to the tax rolls or be sold to U of R.
Right.
And you'll probably
So we're
see
not
it next
taking
month.
any action
Yeah,
on that
hopefully.
now.
Correct. And asked, are we taking any action on that
Now.
now?
No.
No. Okay. All right, is this John Street? Yes.
Yes, it is. And apologies, it just came in this morning, actually. The tenant, the landlord was having a hard time getting the tenant to respond. But it is a company that did have one past waiver request from us in
2018.
was it 18? Yes, I see that. And this ends, 2024 was the last year of benefits.
Precision grinding?
No, Dematic,
Dematic.
the John Street.
Oh, it's still the
Supply
John
chain
Street.
automation.
And then moving on to precision grinding, 2024 is the last year of benefits. This is actually the first year that they've ever requested a waiver.
Yeah, they've always had their numbers up there.
He provided a lot of numbers and declining sales.
It's tough when you're, like the next one where the numbers are so small, 16.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you're at 16 and somebody decides to quit or whatever, you're down 2.
Right.
And they've always been at 16.
Right, for the next one, Carpentier, which is the real estate holding company, and the tenant is called Rochester Magnet.
Are they a manufacturer?
Flexible magnet applications.
Okay.
Yes. And the last year of this pilot is 2025. I don't think we've seen them before.
Let's keep going.
Correct. Legacy Tower, you'll recall last year we did that was one of the ones that Anna and myself went back and met with and got more information. It's the building down here, the tall
The
one.
old Basham
Yeah.
headquarters.
They're just, marketing it and doing what they can and showing the building off to, but just getting people to sign on the dotted line has been a struggle.
What's the vacancy on that?
I don't know the vacancy rate
We
on
didn't
it.
ask that.
They are short, we can find that out, shorter number of jobs, primarily professional services in that building. And unfortunately seeing a lot of professional services leaving.
It's sad.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a beautiful building and they are doing great build outs for their tenants. If anyone's been in like
an amazing-
Soviet space, it's beautiful.
The chamber went into.
It's an amazing building.
Yeah, it is.
It's the chamber went to the.
No,
Oh, I thought they went into Clinton Square.
I mix those two up.
I do too.
Clinton Court
I
and
thought the
Clinton
chamber
Square.
went into the building where Nixon Peabody
Is in Clinton
de-
Square.
departing.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah, 16, yeah.
and that
Square.
one's under foreclosure as far as I understand, or bankruptcy, the owner
Clinton
is.
Square.
Yeah, there's a lot of issues with that property. And then if you look at First Federal Plaza,
First Federal.
pretty much the whole building is empty. So, yeah, the city, in the central business district, there's a lot of churn, and vacancy, and I think that the Clinton Crossing, or the Legacy Tower building is a good example of the impact that that's having. Although the developer has acted in good faith, but.
Do we think, this is a side question, that with Constellation Brands relocating what 400 jobs or so to downtown Rochester, that's going to help offset all of these losses that we're.
No, unfortunately. I think there's a hope that it's such a beautiful project, and then they are bringing in a good, even though they have a remote work policy, a lot of the folks who, the 300 to 400 employees are coming into the office, and that momentum might crystallize some additional momentum. More businesses decide to come downtown, there's more foot traffic, there's more activity, but that remains to be seen.
I don't want to get too far in the weeds during this discussion, but I think that should be a good topic for our housing study and how that impacts workforce and what's going on with all this space downtown, because I don't see anything but housing there.
You read my mind, Norm, that I think the option for a lot of this vacated office space is housing.
So it's
I mean, that's
I
what
just got depressed. So I'm sorry.
but it has upside. We've seen that in the city of Buffalo, right? With their adaptive reuse policy that the IDA has in promoting housing, getting people back downtown in one way or another, and if it's not through business industry, then through housing.
And on a much grander scale, you're seeing it play out in Midtown Manhattan. their commercial office space is mostly, a lot of it's empty, and there's, folks are taking a good hard look at housing as an application there, but.
Well, I'm not gonna go into sidebars, but okay, sorry.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah, moving on to FORTAC, which is provides design, support, development, manufacturing, and assembly of precision injection molded components and sub-assemblies for the automotive market world.
So have they been given waivers? It's like,
Every year.
Yeah, almost pretty much every year.
4
Yep.
years.
But
is there an improvement over those 4-year periods?
No, it's
No.
down. It was down last year substantially.
But they're acting in good faith?
So they have, at the end of 23, they had 10 positions open, experienced difficulty hiring and retaining skilled staff. We continue to seek full employment as we progress into 2024 and into 2025.
These job requirement numbers are pretty substantial, you know, so it's like you probably never get out from underneath them. 95.
Right, you'll see that in a lot of these.
Yeah.
Yeah, the numbers are going up and then down in 23, a lot of them.
The end date of this pilot agreement is 2026.
Keep going, or do we want to deny a waiver in some of these?
I think that it hasn't been the historic practice, right? I mean, the idea here is those were the jobs at application. The goal is to create more jobs. That's what the benefits are about. But this business is acting in good faith. You know, they're communicating with us. To lose their benefits would only cause them more harm and hardship than they're already experiencing.
I think if they're communicating, and that's half the battle. They're talking to you, they're explaining it, they're not trying to hide it. And it just feels like skilled labor is a really tough positions to fill.
But it's helpful to look at each one individually.
Yes, it is.
100%.
The next one is a precision there's 17 high properties. The tenant is a related entity, K&H Precision Products. It is a full service tool design, pattern shop, aluminum casting, CNC machining, and finishing.
And they may be having problems because they're located in Honeyett Falls and there's no way to get there. As far as, if you
no
don't have a
public
vehicle.
transit.
Right, there's no bus or anything that's going out there.
The next one, you'll recall,
That's a
huge one, and we did speak with the landlord last year, and there's a story with this one. When it was first approved, it was for, Norm, you remember, D4, which never really moved into the building and is now not even existent as a company in Monroe County. So the pilot agreement is the job creation requirement, and it is specific to D4, which
no longer
is never going to happen. So we've had several, over the past few years, some conversations with the city, because the job creation requirement was very specific from the city of Rochester of how to handle this, and we are still talking to them. No resolution has really been come up with yet. It's housing on top. I believe there's housing on top right now, and then it's the storefronts on the bottom that they're having a hard time filling.
And there's no dedicated parking.
Right.
That's the big issue when you're downtown.
Yeah.
There's parking in.
Yeah, that's where they're struggling with attracting tenants, is with the parking question. It's nice office space.
But it was
But the
jobs
stores are
required
gonna
was
create
110.
No, they won't.
And
No,
they've got
that's
3.
part of our issue because it's not a realistic job creation
So
requirement.
there's no
it was-
solution here.
Jobs
No.
required.
There's not. So the conversation needs to become, do we
Yes.
reset
Those
the
are
job creation
employees
requirement?
of that large,
Or do we talk to the owner of the building and say, look, everyone tried their best, let's all just walk away from the agreement at this time?
How much longer is the,
It ends in 2030.
Who are you going after?
oh, no.
Yeah.
No.
Right, right.
The owners, PGH Kirstein LLC, the folks that Robin and I connected with. The benefits on the project, I think, make help the numbers work for them as they try to attract more tenants, and they're proactively doing so, but, right, there's no industrial or commercial activity really happening there.
So if you take the benefits away, they're done.
Right.
I can't speak for them, but it's
Why would they be
possible.
done if it's housing?
I think that they had a mixed use type structure,
Yeah.
and as you redefine downtown, downtown's it's changing, especially in that corridor. Rachel's building, Andrews Terrace. No, Andrews Terrace. I mean, there's cranes, there's work, there's all types of things going on there. So when you build that capacity, you get a critical mass that could support some of those things.
Yeah, but this pilot expires in 2030.
2030.
So I guess what we're suggesting is not granting a waiver on this one and not denying one either.
Right.
And just allowing us to continue working with the city.
Right.
We've had discussions with them.
I mean, I'm not on the committee,
Yeah.
but I'm just saying that looking at it from
Knowing the history and everything.
that perspective,
Okay. Morgan Charlotte Street, Fisher Associates.
They're just the landlord, the tenant is Fisher Associates, it's an engineering firm.
Yep. I know them very well.
They're not too far off of the original waivers that were granted. Or
Says
not waivers.
currently we have
Jobs
18.
Jobs required.
Right. Currently we
They're
have
not that
18
far
positions open.
Yeah.
That they're currently looking, they have 18 positions open that they're trying to hire.
Which would get them there.
Yeah.
Jay's gonna steal them up.
Jay's gonna move down.
Right.
Okay.
Engineering and architecture firm, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
They're pretty good.
The next one, Erie Station 30, this is the one, if you recall, it was an empty building. View 6 has moved into the building, but they did not move in until 2024. So as of right now, everything's fine. It was just as of 12/31/23, the building was not occupied yet, as they were still doing the renovations.
So they'll be compliant when we survey them at the end of this year.
The next one is Erie Station 250. The tenant was eHealth, who had already told the landlord that they were going to be vacating the space, which they currently have as of July of this year.
Where did they go? They were in Pittsford, I thought, at one
We
point.
think they're
near.
They started in,
We looked and
they
we
started off
Googled it.
of Allen's Creek,
Yes, exactly.
in very small office space on
Yes.
Allen's Creek, and then they, this space was built out for them in Henrietta. I don't know if it's Conar.
It is.
Yes, it was Conar. They were actually an economic gardening company with GRE at one time when they were a very small company, and then they grew and grew, and I don't know if they were acquired or.
We Googled it and the address was in Fairport.
So they moved to Fairport.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think so.
We think.
They
So
may
the
have
space is
downsized.
vacant. This particular landlord has been very successful at finding replacement tenants.
And they said they have interested parties right now.
So it's just a matter of getting a replacement tenant. And the benefits here go through 2027.
2027.
7.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead.
Yeah, I don't see a problem with that one.
All right, P&L.
Yes, this is an insurance company, having a hard time hiring workers as people want to work remotely. They have some open positions right now, and they have hired a few so far this year. They're still not where they need to be though for the requirement.
They're declining, their numbers are declining.
Even if they work remotely, doesn't that count as an employee?
We do say that.
Yeah, we tell businesses if the employee's home office would be that location, if they were to come into the office to count it.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they did or not.
It may be that they want people to come into the office and people don't, they still want to work remotely.
Yeah, and also I think your point about transportation might apply here because it's a tricky spot off Linden.
The next one.
Quite a variance.
Yeah. Do you want us to inquire more on that one?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, more information, helpful.
Okay, we'll reach out and kind of get a better picture of what's going on in the future. The next one is a real estate holding company, and the tenant is Loomis, the people that pick up the money.
People that is money, like transport services for money?
Loomis armored trucks.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
okay.
I don't know how to confirm or deny this, but they're saying companies are not ordering money at the level, pre-pandemic level.
Probably because people carry around less cash.
They're using Bitcoin.
They don't carry.
Yeah.
Which I still don't understand.
And they use Venmo.
2025 is the final year.
When you go to Europe, they won't take, nobody, and people do not want cash, do not give
Right.
credit card only.
Really?
Oh, you can't give cash, it tells a credit card only. Oh, absolutely. I don't even think I spent $100 when I was there for 10 days.
Wow.
Nobody will take it. And I came home with euros or pounds and whatever I took, Deutsch, whatever. Nobody wants money.
Why?
Because I think credit cards are just so much easier, you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, I mean, even like, because I went to the Bills game last weekend, like all the stadiums are all cashless. Like,
Yeah, it makes transactions more seamless, and then it exposes business owners to less crime, I think.
Right, well, right. You can't, you're
You
not
can't
gonna go,
steal cash, then you
can't go steal a, Visa machine.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, at every place you go, it could be like $2 and it's like no cash.
I bought a beautiful bedspread. In,
Cash?
no, it was my credit card. There was no discussion of cash, and that was in the Provence area of France, and
They just
the
know.
little tiny village of Gordon. And a lady named Isabel who helped me, and we communicated back and forth after I got back, and I ultimately bought that. And she shipped it for me, UPS, and she'd call, or she'd send me an email and say, it's on the plane. It's really great service out of a little tiny village.
Even if you want to go to the bathroom, you have to put your credit card.
Oh, wow.
The restrooms, yeah.
Cost money to get the record?
In some of the countries, yeah. England, Scotland.
Okay, the next one, the Seneca building, there are 2 pilots on it, that have 2 different job creation requirements. One of them is compliant, and this one is the side where Gannett is the major tenant. There are some additional tenants in there as they're trying to sublet the space to kind of help with those job numbers. This is another one that I don't ever see hitting its job creation requirement.
And it goes to 2031.
2031.
No, that's quite the shortfall.
Yeah.
So probably similar to the prior discussion, we'll probably need to have a conversation about a reset on jobs with the city. And this too is a special pilot agreement.
Who owns that building now?
Galena.
Don't you think though, with some of these companies though, a lot of the stuff is going to more robotics So where they thought they needed positions 5 years ago, now they're looking at changing
Probably.
things to robotics, so they don't need as many people, especially with the newspaper industry.
Yeah, newspapers are using artificial intelligence to write
I know.
articles in some cases. I don't think locally we've seen that, but, yeah.
Okay, so anything significant about the next four? Aviation Avenue?
They're really not off, but, well,
No.
the bottom one.
The bottom one
Let's
is
do the bottom.
if we want to skip to the bottom one,
Yeah.
it's a project that was assumed by the University of Rochester a few years ago, and it's a unique. It's unique. So if you read what they're doing, they were supposed to have a bank and a restaurant, and none of that ever came to fruition. And what the university is doing now is they're trying to spur some development by adding parking, and they're currently working with the city and have a site plan within the city right now to make parking lots.
You'll notice the historic waivers granted, the university didn't take this project over until 2021. So 2018, 2019, 2020 were not under the U of R's ownership.
Is that part of College Town?
No.
No, it's on the, is it on the river?
Yeah.
It's on the river.
It's on the other side of the river.
Yeah,
I see.
yeah.
Next to the Staybridge Hotel.
How does a parking lot create jobs?
Create somewhere to park for the people who will attend or go to the restaurant.
You have to,
someday.
you have to stripe the parking lot.
I
You have to
understand,
stripe that.
but I don't, where's
Yeah.
the job creation?
So we talked to the city about resetting this. The city really wants to see development there. So the U of R is trying to do it.
So, that's, I didn't raise that point with the U of R when they're here today. But when U of R starts developing and buying up all the property, they're not for profit.
Right.
They don't pay any taxes. Then all of a sudden, they're the biggest landlord in the city. And guess who's subsidizing the U of R? City people who are not as wealthy as the U of R. So that's a big issue.
It will be.
And the more they assume, like the first property they took over today, more and more that's going to happen.
Yep.
And it's imbalanced because they don't pay taxes on things. So that means they don't support police or fire.
Correct.
But then they're going to be a drain on police and fire.
Correct.
So
I know that's a problem Henrietta had with RIT, because RIT doesn't support fire. And Henrietta had to get a note of the fire department because
The fire district.
they don't
in the
pay
town.
into the fire district, so our fire district bills keep going up and up and up.
Yeah.
But the college says they give them like $20,000 a year. We're gonna give you $20,000 a year.
that's a pittance.
But most of the calls are going to the college,
Yeah.
For candles or whatever else they're doing. And so it's a real drag on Henrietta's fire district.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think that's the discussion that has to happen. I started to do it today, but I said, no, I'm not going to do it because I don't want to be a disruptor. But the question is that, this is going to, as this continues, you cause an imbalance. U of R becomes, this huge landowner, and then other parts of the city is taking over the responsibility of paying for it. And that's even bigger than the pilots and stuff that we're talking about.
The good news on this one, this is a for-profit.
Yeah, but eventually, if they switch ownership and say, okay, we want to take over this and own this, it becomes a not-for-profit because it's an educational institution.
I don't profess to understand exactly how the not-for-profit exemption works. The use has to be consistent with the not-for-profit as well. So if there's a restaurant there, I don't think they'll get the exemption, or a credit union, or something of that sort. But if it's the standard services of the not-for-profit, then yes, it would be.
The biggest thing that U of R does right now, in those areas we're talking about, is housing. And they buy the houses up, and they're buying housing, they're building their housing, they're building their outreach for different medical, like at at Marketplace Mall. Part of that mall is gonna be exempt because
Right.
it's a health
Absolutely.
institution. So this is a discussion that's beyond my pay rate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's gonna have to happen, and as U of R gets builders like LaForest to build out spaces for them, then they have a little handshake, wink and nod agreement later on, we'll buy it from you, we'll take it off your roll, we'll put it on our roll, and we become the owner, and that'll change the whole dynamic. So there has to be some type of mechanism in place to protect not only the taxpayers who are paying for it, but also COMIDA from losing some credibility with people because we're being manipulated. Yes, sir.
According to the University of Rochester website, there are guidelines on private use of University of Rochester facilities. So I think if they have a building, but they have a restaurant there, they gotta pay tax.
They will have to pay tax, yes.
But making sure they do it is probably the.
No,
I think they will.
but Howard, the biggest thing is not the restaurant there. It's what they're buying up is space for housing.
Housing, medical.
Housing, medical, it's especially, the complex, my granddaughter just graduated from the U of R in May. So, and she lived on campus, but really off campus housing on South Plymouth Avenue, which used to be a complex for other people. But U of R owns it, and it's strictly all U of R, right on South Plymouth Avenue. And they bought up the space right next to the Staybridge Hotel that used to be, part of Staybridge. Now it's U of R housing. So as they start buying up all this property, all this land, it changes the tax base.
And it's their housing for their students.
Housing for their students.
If it was housing for just general public, they would pay tax.
No, it's student housing.
Which we all know we need.
Absolutely. So it's real interesting.
Okay, so I think we're through the list, and we need a motion to approve the waivers. And you had given us initially a list of those recommendations.
Yeah.
And based on our conversation, are we still talking about the ones that you recommended?
Correct. There were two that we were gonna not grant waivers for at this time. Hold off.
Which were the two that you're not
It
recommending?
was the PGH
And PNL.
and PNL Linden.
And which one?
P&L Linden LLC, that's the insurance company. Robin and I are gonna have to speak with that business owner.
So those two then.
Correct.
Yes.
So we'll take those off the list.
And Ann, you don't need to read the project codes. We'll make sure the minutes reflect the project codes for granted waivers. We won't
That
put
might
you
be
through
rather
that.
boring.
What are you trying to say?
So
Trying to.
can you share what the motion is, Linda?
So the motion would be to grant the waivers identified by project code. We'll list the project code in the minutes. It will omit the two we discussed.
Okay.
The Ps.
To recommend to the full board.
Yeah, so we'll make a recommendation to the full board at the September meeting.
Okay. But we don't need a motion now.
We do need a motion.
We do.
Motion.
Okay, because we're basically gonna grant waivers for all but two.
All but
on this list. So I need a motion to that effect.
Troy made the motion?
Troy, thank you.
Second.
Lisa, second. Any other changes? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Good, that's a good thorough review.
Yeah,
Very thorough.
it's a lot.
And for perspective, I think there's 23 companies on this list, and we have in excess of 300 active projects.